Hi guys, hope everybody's doing well. Give me a thumbs up telling me you can hear me today because we have had microphone issues lately. Hopefully it's working right now. We're going to play a little bit today with decorative fills, how to create some, how to use them in BES4, and you can't create in BES4, but you can use them. You can use some that are built in. Hi Sherry, hi Susan. Good to see you all today. Hope you all are enjoying yourselves. Glad you can hear me. Reminder, I forgot to look and see if I have that file on my computer. Let's see if I have it on my computer where I can tell you where we're going. Yes, I do. There we go. A reminder of where we'll be here shortly, just so that I don't forget. Let me share this screen. Okay, so coming up, Stitching Post in Moore, Oklahoma, September the 30th through October the 2nd. BES4 is September the 30th. October 1st and 2nd are P Design. I will be at Heidi's Sewing Machines doing a scan and cut project on the new 330D. It'll be a Disney project, but I think you all will enjoy it. And then right now, currently, Houston is still on board, so I'll be at the All Brands booth in Houston. So that's what I've got for you right now. That's where we'll be. So next week I start traveling. So I don't know. It's going to be a little scary. So sounds a little muffled, huh? Well, hold on, let me switch my microphone while I'm here and see if I can figure out what's going on. Well, it shouldn't be, but who knows? We'll flip to this one for right now since I don't be on the other one. Okay, is that better? Okay, so I'm looking forward to traveling, I think. I'm not real sure. We'll see. I'm not looking forward to get on the flying tin can again, but I guess at some point we have to start returning to life. And who knows? So today I'm going to go to my scan and cut for those of you that don't have P Design. If you have P Design, this design is actually built in. So I'm going to show you how you can get it both places for those of you that don't have P Design. If you have a scan and cut, this artwork file that I'm going to use today is actually built into the scan and cut, and it's built into PE Design. So you can grab it either way. So let's see. I'm going to show you at the scan and cut first. So I am going to switch cameras here for a second, where to find it there and how to get it into your computer. So let me switch over to the other, and you're going to have to hear me muffled, and I don't know what to tell you there. So let me flip cameras here for just a second. You should see that camera. Let me flip microphones. I'm sorry, it's going to be a bit muffled. I will see if I can change that. Is that any better? Let me adjust it up a little bit here. Maybe that will help. Okay. How's the sound? We good? So on your scan and cut, if you have a dealer model, when you go into patterns and you go into our general category, and I lost my stylus earlier today. If you were on the show with me earlier today, you know that I lost the stylus. Have no idea what I did with it. Down here, these are called events. So if you touch events and you scroll down, you'll see this little haunted house. That's the design I'm going to use to create what I'm going to create today. We're going to go ahead and touch OK again, and touch set. Now I want to send it to my Canvas workspace account so that I can see this. So we're going to go touch save and then transfer to Canvas workspace. All right. We'll touch OK because we are successful, and now we're ready to go back to our computer. I'm not actually going to cut anything just yet. We're just going to bring it up on our computer and play with it. So here we go. I'm back. You can see me? Yes. Okay, so let's see if I have any questions. Nope. All right. So let's go over to Canvas Workspace first. Here's Canvas Workspace, and we're going to go up, and we are going to choose Import from the File pull-down menu. So up here where it says File, you're going to choose Import from your cutting machine, and we want to import a FCM file because that's what it created. So if I touch this, we're there, and there's my file. You can resize it, make it whatever size you want. We're going to go up to the File pull-down menu and choose Export Transfer FCM File so we can use this one. Export the FCM file, and we will name this House 2, just so you all know the difference between the two that I've saved already. All right. So now let's minimize this screen, and I'm in my BES4. I'm going to start in BES4 because it is, there's less to it there. So we're going to go ahead and go up to our application key. This is called the pace setter key if you didn't know that, pace setter button. And we'll choose import and choose import artwork. If you have just the base level of BES4, or if you have the new BES Blue, you will just see import FCM file. I have all of my power packs, so that should let you know that that's why. All right, so here's my House 2. I'm going to go ahead and open it. If you click on the plus sign and see a bunch of squares down below here, that means your file's not combined, but this one is combined, so we should be good to go. I'm going to go ahead and select the whole thing, go up to my Tools tab, and I'm going to convert this guy to applique. We're going to change it to a blanket stitch and click apply, and we may get funky results. And we did get a little bit of funky results, so I want to change my width to 2. And there we go. So I'm beautiful. Now, if you had gotten really weird results, what I will tell you is your design is not big enough for this particular applique. So if yours had looked like that, try just simply making it just a bit bigger after you change the blanket stitch size. Okay? Now, I wanted to put a decorative fill around this. This was a Power Pack 1 feature, and if you have Power Pack 1, you can add decorative fills. If you do not have anything besides Power Pack 1, so I have 1 and 2, which means I have artwork cut shapes down here, and I can simply grab a square, left click, and then select it and make it the size I want. So I want it to be about 200 by 200. Don't worry, I'll show you how to do this if you don't have Power Pack 2 here in a minute. I'm going to go to my Arrange tab, and I'm going to choose Center. I'm going to grab, they both should be in the center, but if not, I'm grabbing the second one and putting it in the center as well. So I'm going to grab my square again and go to my Tools tab. Remember, this is a Power Pack 1 feature. We're going to choose Convert to Decorative Fill. I'm not going to put a border around this because I'm going to act like it's my quilting, okay? So there are different options that you can select from. These are our different decorative fills that are built into the software program. You can make them larger, but I am sitting here telling you, I strongly suggest you do not make them smaller because the stitch points in there do not adjust itself. So there's my decorative fill, and what I did was I changed the default angle is 0, okay? And that looks like a bunch of squares, which is cool, but I liked it when I changed it to the angle of 45 and clicked apply. You'll notice it gives it just a little bit different of a look. You can play with them and see which ones you like, but 45 was my favorite. So I'm going to leave it like that. Now, there are knot stitches here that you can remove. So how can you get around this with this program? Otherwise, this is going to stitch in its entirety, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to show you a trick today. If we click on our Edit Shape tool, and we right mouse click on one of the points, there's this key called Add a Hole. That's what we want to do. So now we're just going to left click around our shape. You don't have to be real fussy with this. You can come back in and clean it up if you need to. I'm just left clicking around the house shape here. And if you don't like where you clicked, you can backspace and take out the last click. This is just a way you can get some decorative quilting around your design if you don't have a fancier machine that has decorative fills on it.
This gives you options that you can do that. So I'm simply left clicking around it, and you can tell I'm not being real fussy with this. I'm getting close, but not super close. And every level of BES4 has the ability to add a hole. It's when you get into your edit shape tool, you right mouse click on one of the edit points and you can add a hole into something. So we're gonna keep going around here. I'm almost done. Once you get to the last point, choose close shape and then right mouse click away from the area. Once you right mouse click the second time, that area is gone. So you'll notice now all of my decorative fill is going around the outside area and it's totally not going to go over your stitching. So if you need to adjust things, so let's come in and zoom in on this a little bit. You'll notice down here at the bottom, I have a little bit of adjusting to do. So I'm going to once again select my background fill, my decorative fill, go to my tools tab and grab the edit shape tool. And then I can right mouse click and add points and move those to where they are outside of that area so that it doesn't stitch over the top of it. You can also move points that are already there. But if you need to add them, just right mouse click and say add a point. And when you right mouse click away from it, you'll notice how it adjusts that shape to where it's not stitching over the top of it anymore. And you'd simply clean up the rest of your artwork in that manner. And that's how you do it in BES4. So let me come back over here and see, are there any questions on that? And Shirley, I'm about to do it with PE Design. You read my mind because I've got more options there. But I wanted to show you if BES4 was what you had, then that's how you can do it there. Let me show you one last thing. So if you do not have Power Pack 2, how do you get that square in there? All right. So I'm going to delete my square here. I'm going to go up to my add design and I'm going to come in, I'm going to add applique shapes. There is a square in here, although it's a rounded square. Here's my applique square. I'm just going to left click to insert it. This one has two parts. I don't need both parts, so I'm going to select the outside area and delete it. And now take the pink one and tell it I want it to be 8 inches, which is 200 millimeters. And we can go arrange and press the center key to center it. Now, if you don't want rounded corners, the tools tab, edit shape, you can right mouse click and add a point in your corners and change those to lines and change both the points on either side to a line here in just a second. I'm going to do that. We're going to add a point on each corner before I do anything else exciting. And now I'm going to zoom in on those areas. So let me zoom into this corner here and go back to my edit shape tool. And then I can take this point and make it into a square. Right mouse click, there you go. Go over to the opposite side. Come here, right mouse click and say line, and then take that and move it into a corner. And you'll notice that that's my little wavy line there, so I'm going to make that a line as well so that it doesn't do that curve on me. Right mouse click away from it, and you've got your square. So now let's zoom to this bottom corner. Tool, edit tools, edit shape, right mouse click and make that line. Pull it into a corner. Right mouse click away from it. It doesn't have to be perfect, guys, especially if it's quilting. Line, and then here we go. Now, in order to get the decorative fill, we're going to right mouse click. There we go. Now we're going to select it, convert it to decorative fill. And once again, you would add that hole just like I showed you earlier. You would come in, go to your tools tab again, your edit shape tool, right mouse click on a point and choose add a hole. And then simply left click around your shape that you have inside it. The same as I did before. So I'm not going to do that because I've already done it once for you, so there's no sense in me doing it again. But that's how you would get the shape in. if you don't have Power Pack 2. Power Pack 2 just happens to have that nice, clean square that converts really easily. So yes, I did embroider my shirt. Thank you so much, Sandra. I enjoyed it. So Shirley, it does take longer, but it does do beautiful results with the rotary auto blade. And if you all didn't watch that one earlier, that one actually is a very fun, easy project, and it finishes pretty quickly. So I did multiples yesterday just playing on my own, including the miniatures that I did. And if you want to know, if we have time today, I'll show you how I made that box into a miniature. So, all right, let's go into P design now. I'm done with BES4. Erase that from your minds. We're ready to go on to P design. So here we go. Let's close this one out. Because I don't see any questions on that. As I said, if you have P design, then you already actually have that shape in your design library. So if I come and choose outline shapes, and I scroll down to events, basically this is where they're located. Here's the haunted house. That's the exact one that's on Canvas Workspace. So I didn't actually have to come in and bring in an FCM file. I'm going to come in and change my hoop size to an 8x8. And now we can come up to our applique wizard. We're going to do, actually I want to select all. Let's see here. Applique wizard. And I want to replace it, and we're going to click OK. There we go. Now, if you want your stitches closer together, you can go into your sewing attributes on your blanket stitch, and you can change the length of your blanket stitch, and you can change the spacing in between it. I'm going to shorten that spacing in between it to where my E stitches are a little bit closer together. Notice how that works? Now, to do a decorative fill here, this is super simple. You're going to touch the background fill button, and you're going to click the outside area. So you'll notice how it turns that into a crosshatch. And I chose decorative fill here. I'm going to go ahead and choose next. Now, this big square right here with the decorative fill is where you go in and select yours. There are quite a few that are built in. Let me bring my screen over here. Quite a few that are built in. They start with DF pattern 001. You can see that I've added some above that. So these are all of the ones that are built into the software. So you can grab one, click OK. You'll notice how it goes around the outside edge. I created one, and I'm going to show you how I did that. And it actually is one of my favorites that I've done so far. This guy right here. And you can change its size. So if you want more decorative fill around it, reduce the size of it and update your preview. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. And there you go. Easy peasy, done. And that is, that one is super simple to get done. Now, let me see here, where did I hide those on myself? If you watched Sewing Machines Plus SewFest last week, you'll know this is what I did with mine. This is that decorative fill that I just showed you. And what I learned is I didn't like it with the split hoop, because this is done with a split hoop on the Persona. I didn't like where that decorative fill split. And I was like, well, I wonder if I can change the center point on that. There's really nothing I had ever thought of, because it had never come into play. So watch this. If you don't like where your center point is on your decorative fill, if you select it in your sewing order window, click it, select pattern, and then go to the select point tool, you see that little square that pops up in the middle? When you move that, it changes where your decorative fill radiates from. And you can actually change where your line is going to hit. I wish I had thought of that before I did that stitch out, but I really had never thought that it would give me that change, that it would make that big of a difference. But you can notice how I can change where that pattern actually lands, where it starts, where it stops, to where I can make it how I want it. And that is really a nice little feature, just so I wanted y'all to know where that was, because I really had never thought about that before, but it does make a huge difference, especially if you're doing something with a split hoop. Notice how I'm able to make that in the center there. So I've got a complete pattern out on the outside edge and on each corner. So it gave me that option of playing with that to make it what I wanted it to be. Now, how did I do that? Amanda, you would do it the same way in P Design 11, except for you don't have decorative fills. So you would have to use motifs and you would have to set whole sewing. So give me a minute and I'll show you that. There's just more steps than what I just did. Let me come back over here. So how did I make my decorative fill? Well, let's come up here and make one. We're going to go up to our options pull down menu and choose programmable stitch creator. And let me bring that window over so you all can see it. All right. We're going to choose new decorative fill pattern. And let me put my preview screen. Oh, actually you all do see my preview screen. I just don't. What did I do for that one? Well, I simply did this. I made a cross and a cross. And then I decided, well, I think I want to come in here and do this. Something along these lines. All right, so evidently I don't have to, I need to back out one. There we go. Right mouse click takes away your last click. And I'm going to adjust it a little bit. It would have made sense if I had paid attention to what I'd done before, right? But I forgot to. And so you can edit and adjust what you put in there. I think I actually I think I have these squared off. Yep, right there's what I did. So now I can select that and I can copy that and paste it. And I'm going to rotate it. Or let's try flipping it. There we go. It's not exactly where I want it to go, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to shift it up one. There we go. Then I think I came in and I did another one. I may have done something like this. You can sit and play with this all you want. Let's put a spike in the middle here. I'm going to save this one. We're going to save this one as Facebook Live. You'll notice I usually put an A in front of mine so that I know where they land. That way I don't have to go hunting for them. So this one's going to be slightly different. Let me see what my original one looked like. Let's open it up. Let's see here. What did I do? All right, so you can kind of see what I did. I did the square, the rectangle and the rectangle, and then I did squares around it. And that, I mean, really, basically, it's very similar to what I did today. You never know what you're going to wind up with when I play. So I'm going to come back over. Evidently, I've got a few things sitting on my screen. Let me close those current things up. We're going to grab a decorative fill. So a Facebook Live is what I called that one. Here we go. That one's similar, not the exact same. I'm going to choose maintain aspect ratio and change the size of it. But I kind of like this one too. And it'll automatically update it. And you can tell that it's connected, and you can notice that there are no stitches that are jumping. That's because it touches end to end. So say you save it into your decorative fills. is how you get it. So let's see here. You can bring in a picture to trace. You cannot bring in an FCM file, but you can bring in a picture to trace for a decorative fill. And once I saved it, Faye, it winds up automatically in the decorative fills unless you save it to a different location. I saved mine directly into my decorative fill folder. Otherwise, I would have to go hunt for it. I mean, you want it to land in the correct spot. Let me look and see. Really hadn't thought about doing that, but let's look and see. Let's delete our decorative fill. Oh, I do have to get the right tool going. And let me delete my outline. Okay, background fill, tell it where you're going. Next, there is a file folder that you can go hunting for decorative fills. So this little folder right there will bring up your decorative fills. Here they are. These are the ones at the top are the ones I've made, starting at DF pattern 001 are the ones that are built in. So you'll notice I left mine in the default folder, but if you put yours someplace else, you certainly could do that. You can go hunt for it. I just tend to leave mine in the default folder. And so, I mean, you can play and have fun. This was the second one. I added a few more details to that one. I didn't like it as well. I thought it was too much. But you can decide. I felt like it was too many lines. I liked this more simple one better. Okay. How would I do it if I were in a different version of P Design? Okay. Let's come back up over here and show you. Yes, I made the spools, Miss Tana. All right, let's see here. I'm going to delete these two pieces, so we're going to select them, move in here and delete them. If I were doing this in a different version of the software, I would come in and draw myself a square around the design. That's your first step. I would turn off the outline and I would change it to a motif stitch. Okay? Now, we're going to move it to where it's in front of the applique so that the applique is sitting on top of it. And we need to set a hole. So we can grab the blanket stitch. Let's see here. The outside of the blanket stitch. And then select the fill. Click the select patterns icon. Modify overlap, set hole sewing. And then it's done. So you have other motif stitches. If you come over to your sewing attributes window, these are the motifs that are built into the software program. And once again, you could make your own. Motifs can be made up to 100 millimeters in height, but they are a little bit different in creating. So there's a motif that you could select. You can make them bigger or smaller. I gotta find where my mouse is here. These are the motifs that are built in. Your window may look like this. I usually make mine bigger so I can see them all at the same time. There are 90 of them built into the software program. This one right here is just a line, but you have some more ornate ones. And they can all be resized anywhere down to 5 millimeters and up to 100 millimeters, which is 3.94 inches. So here's one that's similar to what I just did. You would just make it bigger. So if we put maintain aspect ratio on it, you could make it, let's say 25 and see what happens. So that gives you a similar look, not quite the same, but similar. And you can make your square to where it actually fills the entire area if you want to. But that's a slightly different way of doing it. You just don't have decorative fills. And you can create your own motifs. The motifs are created in the same manner, kind of. It's Programmable Stitch Creator, and we're going to do File, New Motif Pattern. You have to make it from one piece. What I call it one piece of string. It's from one line. So anytime you make you have to click on the line to add a point and then you take it and drag that point. So this is not going to be quite as clean as what the other one was. Just simply because you have to make it come back into I'm going to crisscross down here. And as you can see, this one's a little bit more challenging. We're going to have a little bit more mess to play with. But it is doable. And then let's see here. Let's make us a crisscross in the middle. I may need to change my grid to a smaller grid. Let's go to View, and let's change our grid to a smaller grid. There we go. Now I can get middles. There we go. Delete. And we want to take this one and take it all the way up. As I said, this one's not for the faint of heart. You have to kind of figure out where you're going with it to make sure you know where you're going to wind up. Because it's all got to be from that one piece of what I call string, which is your thread. Because I mean, this is basically you're creating the stitch and how the machine is going to travel from part to part. Which means you got to make sure your pieces are going to crisscross where you want them to go. And I'm left with, I need to take something down to this bottom center. You can take it back to the middle. Now I got to figure out how to get that one in the center. And this one. So let's clean this up just a hair. Bring these sides in a little bit. All right. That works. It's even on all sides. We're not going to try to do that other part. So I'll go ahead and file save as, and we'll call this one crisscross. And I'm going to put a crisscross. Facebook. We'll save it. And now let's go use it. So if I come in to my decorative fills, let me come up and find it over here. Bring it over for you to see. Here it is. Click OK. And it is tiny, so let's make it 50. And that's what you get. So that one's much more challenging. The decorative fills are a whole lot easier to mess with, and it just depends on what you want to do. You can have fun, you can play with it, and enjoy. So they're addictive. They are truly addictive, I will have to say. I'm trying to see if there's any questions here. Okay, I don't see any more questions. So are you guys good today? I see a comment coming up. All right, so yes, it's in settings when you get to the cut screen. I can show you that in just a second. Give me a few seconds and I'll come back over there. Don't let me forget. I'll go back over there. So, okay, so Sandy, what you're doing wrong is you're selecting it in the sewing order window. But, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select this in my sewing order window, right? I'm going to click it, click my select patterns icon. If I keep my cursor in my sewing order window, well, that worked today. Usually it doesn't. If I keep my cursor in my sewing order window, it usually does not delete it. Usually you have to move your cursor out of your sewing order window in order to press delete. So keep that in mind. That is the way that you usually have to select it in the sewing order window, move your cursor out of the sewing order window, and then press delete on your keyboard. Otherwise, it still thinks you're talking to the sewing order window, and you shouldn't be able to delete out of the sewing order window. Mine evidently is doing something funky today. Let's see here. Yes, the decorative fills are one of my favorite features in version 11. One of the favorite features of all time, I will have to say. It has expanded what I've got. And if you don't have a luminaire, it totally expands your world. If you have a machine that doesn't have My Design Center on, it gives you that capability. So, I mean, I truly love those. They're so much fun. Wanda, you need a scan and cut. I will enable you to purchase that. You have my permission. It is just the bomb. If you look here, look at this. I mean, look how precisely that's cut. My blanket stitch, I don't know, can y'all see that blanket stitch on there? My blanket stitch is done with the embroidery machine, and that is precision cut. Absolute precision. So, all right. Let me go show you how to change the rotary blade settings. Let me change over camera mic here. Of course, it's not going to show that now. Oh, Lordy, I've got gremlins today. Total gremlins. And I don't know why. Hold on.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm telling you, I have no idea what to tell you. I have gremlins in the computer today. They are not liking me. Can you hear me now? So the rotary auto blade is when you have your rotary auto blade in. Guys, when I switched over to that other camera, I lost the sound. I have no idea what happened. I can try it one more time. We'll see. Let me check and see audio. I cry uncle. Um, I have no idea what's going on with the sound gremlins. Today, when I switch between the cameras, evidently it just does not like me and does not like me changing things. What I was saying while I was over there, you should be able to hear me now. Okay. So what I was saying while I was over there was that you change it once you go. All right. I can show you on with the camera. I'll just change cameras, not mic. I'll just talk louder. Okay. When you're in your cut settings, when you touch settings, go to page 2. Rotary blade is normal or fine, okay? Fine is going to take at least 3 times longer to cut as normal rotary auto blade mode. You'll notice that half cut is not an option because you cannot half cut with a rotary auto blade. You will only see those settings when the green cartridge is in the machine, okay? That help? So hopefully that helps. But I don't know what to tell you. If you did not watch this morning's this afternoon's Facebook Live on Brother Sews, this is what we did. It's a tray that is built in. The tray itself is built into Canvas Workspace. I actually added elements and stuff to it. And all of the elements were added in Canvas Workspace. I did endpoint sewing with Luminaire for the decorative stitching around it, just so that you can see. I did a mini, and I'll show you how I did my mini in a minute, but I have to show you what arrived in the mail for me this week, or I guess I should say shipping. Karen sent me this cute little box. Cute little box, right? But what's in it's even cuter. This thing, she has been a friend of mine forever. She was a dealer to begin with. But she's had this little baby brother sewing machine in her store that she had until she closed it. And she was selling all of her stuff on eBay. And I said, well, can I buy the little baby brother off of you? It doesn't sew. It doesn't even have a motor in it, but isn't that so cute? I cannot wait to find a place to put it in here to show it off because it is so stinking cute. But that's the only place I'd ever seen one of those. And it was so cute. And it has its own, I didn't know it had its own cute little box to hold it in. So I had to show you all that one. That one's so cute. All right. So how to make the mini box. That's the next trick so that the holes will actually cut. All right. Canvas Workspace. Let's select that project. So if you watched this morning, I went into the library to search for the Canvas projects, and I typed in tray. When I pressed enter, here is the reversible felt tray. Okay. Now I clicked it. And the first thing I did before I resized this, because the holes would get too small, I'm going to come and grab that circle. I grabbed a circle from the shapes library and I made it to where it was the size of these original circles here. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. That's good. All right. And I moved it out of the way. So now I'm going to take this down to about 5.5 inches. And press enter. And then you're going to take these circles and you're going to put them around. You're going to take one circle and you're going to put it around the other shapes. So there we go. I'm going to duplicate that or copy it and paste it. Copy, paste, Control C plus Control V. And I'm going to paste another one and bring it down here. The first side is the harder side. The second side, you're going to love me and say, oh, that's so easy. We're going to paste again. It's way up there. Bring it down here. And I'm going to copy and paste again. So I don't have to go hunting for it. Okay, now I got to go hunting. There it is. I'm going to zoom in on that one a little bit more so I can see it. And the only reason I'm doing this is so that my circles don't get so tiny that I cannot thread anything through them, or that the rotary blade can't cut. So now I've got all of my circles basically where I want them to be. I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to go into my layers menu and grab all of those circles. I'm going to copy them. Actually, I'm going to group them first. And then I'm going to copy that group. And I'm going to paste it. We're going to take it over and we're going to mirror it. So go into your edit menu and mirror. Flip. Oops, undo. Now I need my circles. And I'm going to take those over and place them over the top of that other. Let's get to where we can refine it. So I'm going to zoom in so we can refine it just a little bit. Move them down just a hair. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to zoom out and we're going to select it all by drawing around it and come down here, this button where it says subtract. Notice how now it's made those holes nice and big, and that's how I made that a smaller tray. So that one, that's really just made those circles big enough to where the rotary blade could cut them, and it really makes it much easier. So I didn't do embroidery on the luminaire. So what I did was I actually manually stitched this. And the decorative stitches are built into the luminaire. It's character decorative stitches, menu 12, and I think it was 12-48 was the leaf. But all of this was sewing today. None of it was actual embroidery. You could have turned it into embroidery. I just chose to stitch it because it was all, it gave me the opportunity to practice my sewing skills, which I don't do that often. So, and use some other stuff. That endpoint sewing on the luminaire was spot on when I used it today to basically decide where I wanted to start and end my stitch. It did a perfect job. If you haven't played with that, go back and watch that show from this morning, from this earlier this afternoon, and I think you'll find that it's very simple to do. You just put that sticker where you want it to stop and it stops on a dime. Easy project that I did this morning. If you don't want to decorate it, you don't have to decorate it. You can just make a simple plain tray. But that right there is a decorative stitch on the luminaire itself. And if you notice here, so these little guys right here came out of Canvas Workspace as well. I'll show you one more time where those were in Canvas Workspace in the library. Instead of trays, I searched for autumn projects. And so if I go into my search menu, you'll see here autumn. And I found my leaves and my well, that certainly didn't search for autumn, did it? There we go. Right here. Autumn message card. I found the leaves and the acorns here, this first section. And there they are. I didn't use this one. I didn't like it. So I deleted it. But I used the acorn, and my suggestion is ungroup it before you do anything, because if you get it over to the machine and you want a different color for the top and the bottom, you can't do it unless you've ungrouped it here in Canvas Workspace. All right, so let me come back and see if there's other questions here. Yes, Marie, I will be at Novi in November. Right now, that's on my schedule, unless something happens and that show gets canceled or restrictions get changed, then yes, Novi is on my schedule. So, yeah, I was thinking about putting it on top of the box, Margaret. I just haven't figured out where to place it in here that it won't get knocked off somewhere. So I've got to find me a good little shelf and go from there. Yes, Novi, Michigan, Tana. Tana. I do that every time. You learn a name one way and you can't get it out of your head. But yes, I will be in Novi, Michigan in November. I don't remember which week that one is. Hold on and I'll look. The Sewing Expo in Novi is the 12th and 13th of November. So, okay, guys, if there is nothing else that you guys have questions on today, so that's funny, Sharon. Well, my fingers are pretty expressive, huh? I don't know what's going on with the microphone today. I can plug it into my computer and it works, but it's not working through there half the time, so I'm not sure. But I wish I could come back to that area of the world as well. I did get to travel to Australia one year. That was a blast. I went for echidna sewing. They used to have these huge sewing events. I mean, huge sewing and embroidery events. I will say is the most elaborate thing I've ever been to in my life as far as a sewing event goes to. The next best thing that I've been to, that I've been part of, participating in as a presenter, is the Heidi Sewing event. If you guys haven't signed up for that, and if you're needing a place to go, Heidi Sewing in St. Louis, Missouri, that's a fun one. You'll get to meet lots of new people. There are projects in every class. You rotate through different classes, so you get to try out different machines. You get to play. You get to meet new friends. Everybody has some kind of a project, so you go away with learning quite a few different tips and techniques. And it's just a unique venue, so it is a lot of fun. And it's not like you just get a different experience. So everybody's teaching a different thing. You get, like I said, I'll be doing scan and cut. Somebody else will be doing a luminaire. Somebody else is doing a PR class. I'm sure there are other manufacturers that are sending in classes as well. Usually Angela and I are both there. This year she is not going to that one. Show, that date has been changed so many times. We were all scheduled to go. It was scheduled for March of 2020. This is the third reschedule. So I continue to be able to hold that spot for them. Because this really is the next week going to the stitching post is going to be my first trip out since COVID. So you guys have a great rest of the week. Remember, questions are always welcome. If I can show them, I will. So I would appreciate questions. That always helps me come up with things to do. So, the next best thing is being here virtually, and I wish I could travel as well. Right now, I'm not real excited about going to other countries because you have to quarantine for so long, which makes it your 1 week stay turns into way stay. You got to quarantine when you get there, quarantine when you're back, even if you're vaccinated. It is, and yeah, so I'm not excited about traveling internationally this year. So, which is probably that's key to, I will not be traveling internationally this year. I will be staying in the U.S. But hopefully we don't get stopped. But if you guys have questions for next week, please do it. Yeah, Patricia, depends on which scan and cut you have, but yes, you certainly can take a PES file and turn it and take it into the scan and cut if you have one of the dealer models. It does best. You'll be able to use the applique key function on the scan and cut if you have color coded it for applique material in one of the software programs. Freestanding lace is a little bit more than we can do a live on, and I will have to say that's not one of those things that we don't have anything built in to make that easy for you. So that's one that would take a lot of time for me to develop for you. The latest and greatest model of the scan and cut is the SDX 325, which was what I was using today, and the SDX 330D. Those are the two models that were released in the fall. They have not made it into dealers yet, I don't think. There's something happening at the port. I don't know. I think they have made it into Q&A. I'm just not sure where they are. Into quality, the quality testing. I'm just not sure where they are on that and when they start shipping out. we should start seeing those soon. The new thing on those machines is that they have My Connection on them. So they will talk to a Luminaire, My Design Center, and the Luminaire can send it back over to the Scan and Cut. So it really is, and it adds some nice functions on the Luminaire for My Connection. So those are very nice. That is a nice function. But now I do want to caution you to understand that it is built-in content on the Scan and Cut. So it's not like I can scan something in at this time and send it over to my Luminaire. Hopefully in the future that will happen, but at this time it's built-in content on the Scan and Cut, which if you have the 325, that gives you another 1,300 and something designs that you can use. If you, well, for both models, because you can't send Disney. So you get 1,300 designs that you didn't have that you can send over to your scanning, to your Luminaire to create embroidery from, which really is nice. And it's nice, clean artwork. So you're going to get a very good result in My Design Center. And that is the beauty of it, is when it comes out of the Scan and Cut, it is a clean embroidery, clean artwork file. So it's just like using one of the built-in stamps or shapes in the machine itself. It is very nice and clean. All right, guys. So you all have a great rest of the week, and I will see you next Tuesday, barring anything dramatic happening. Right now, we are not having any construction next week because I said no. So, all right, y'all have a great rest of the week. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.